Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Welcome back to the Infowars Nightly News. Owen Schroyer with you. I'm about to be joined by Leanne McAdoo and Margaret Howell. Project Veritas has just released a scathing, one video in a series of videos, but truly unbelievable investigative reporting from James O'Keefe and Project Veritas. Here are some of the highlights from the first video release.
If you're there and you're protesting and you do these actions, you will be attacked at Trump rallies. That's what we want. People will freak the f*** out. His security team will freak out, and his supporters will lose their shit. We are contracted directly with the DNC and the campaign, both.
There's a double blind there, so that they can plausibly deny that they knew anything about it. There's a script.
Oh, there is a script.
There's a script.
Okay.
There's a script of engagement. Sometimes the crazies bite, and sometimes the crazies don't bite. They're starting confrontations in the line, right? They're not starting confrontations
to volunteers
in the rally, because once they're inside the rally, they're under Secret Service's control. When they're outside the rally,
they're more affected out. They're harder to get in.
The media will cover it no matter where it happens.
I assume it's always in the rally.
Initiating the conflict by having leading conversations with people who are naturally psychotic. You can message to draw them out and draw them to punch you. Prepare to go wherever these events are, which means we have to have a central kind of agitator training.
Yep.
Nobody's really supposed to know about me. So the Chicago protest, when they shut all that was us. It was more him than me, but none of this is supposed to come back to us because we want it coming from people. We don't want it to come from the party.
That we pay to do shit. Make no mistake. Over the last 20 years, I've paid off a few homeless guys to do some crazy stuff, and I've also taken them for dinner, and I've also made sure they had a hotel and a shower, and I put them in a program. Like, I've done that.
Well, Leanne, Margaret, perhaps just as scathing as the WikiLeaks releases, these videos are pretty damaging to the Democratic Party.
Right. There is no end to the villainy. And, months back when we first started exposing this and talking about how they were bussing in these protesters, they were being paid to go off at the Trump rallies to make the Trump protesters, the Trump supporters look bad. We were actually vilified. I know The Intercept, for one, ran a hit piece on us saying, how dare you push out this meme that there's these paid protesters? That's a total lie. And indeed, now here comes Project Veritas with a slam dunk.
Margaret?
Did you hear what he said about plausible deniability? They don't want any of this linked to him. It's so obvious. The problem that I'm having, Owen, so we know last Friday, for example, that Trump tape leak, it was covered 23 times by all three major networks. The WikiLeaks revelations that are all bombshells got 1 total minute. So people really have to be watching this because, of course, it's going on. And oh, by the way, throughout that tape, at one point they asked, does Hillary know about this? What does she know about? She knows about all of it, all of it. She knows this is going on. It's going on her behalf.
And they just want to give that little line of plausible deniability. And this is a 16+ minute long piece. This is just the first part in a multi-part series. So there's more stuff that's going to come out if you can even believe it.
Well, and whatever plausibility or deniability they thought they had, and that's pretty much over with now. I mean, with this video, they are caught admitting what they've done at these protests or at these Trump rallies to agitate people. And it's exactly what we saw the mainstream media say that Trump supporters were doing. No, it's actually the Democratic people and the people they're funding to put out there. And, there's so much about this. Like you said, there's this one video in the whole series. And something that James O'Keefe said is, will the mainstream media cover this? Will the mainstream media address this at all? You just talked about the Trump tapes. They wanted to cover that all day long. Do you expect any coverage from the mainstream media on this?
No. And well, that's the exact same thing Julian Assange said, is that whatever he's going to drop, it's going to be bombshell. It could devastate the Democratic Party if the media picks it up. And that was his key point that he made. And so this is, again, happening with James O'Keefe and his amazing work. He actually tweeted out a little earlier, there was a video of a corgi trying to get up the stairs, and they're looping this video of a corgi fighting against this. That was what the media is showing you, not James O'Keefe's Bombshell video.
I want to point out that we have been covering this for weeks and weeks. So yes, we knew that this was going on. Alex has been talking about this for weeks, and specifically related to the Charlotte protesters that literally burned down the city of Charlotte. We knew that police on the ground, they said that over 60 or 70% of the people coming in, they're holding out-of-state licenses. They're being bussed in from other places. These are orchestrated protests that are being paid to agitate, to destroy communities, to try to take down anybody that supports Trump. And you covered this morning. Also in North Carolina, the Republican headquarters, that could be burned down. You know, I can't wait to see if that was actually a paid stunt at this point, because we know that they're capable of doing this kind of thing.
Well, I'm not sure if we'll ever find out. Maybe perhaps there'll be some information on that in the next video that Project Veritas releases. But if we have any indication of the question I posed to you, will the mainstream media cover this? Fox News has already canceled interviews with James O'Keefe. This is pretty unprecedented. Why would Fox News not want to cover this?
Right. Well, because they're all in collusion. They've got to get Hillary Clinton in. And that's, you know, that's one of the pieces that we hear in this video. This is Operative Scott Fovold. He says, it doesn't matter what the friggin' legal and ethics people say. We need to win this, MF. I mean, that sums it up right there. They do not care if it's legal or ethical. They want to win no matter what. And so they've taken this bird-dogging tactic. Kit Daniels breaks it down pretty well in his article. You can also find it there in the Project Veritas article. But they send these people in. There was a woman who claimed that she was punched in the face by a Trump supporter. That was one of their activists. So they go in and they're inciting violence, and then they go and speak directly to the press and say, oh my gosh, I was assaulted. My goodness, you recall all of the activists that just spontaneously decided to block the highway, blocked by protesters there. And we reported on that at the time, that they had ties to the Open Society Foundation, and we were called conspiracy theorists for that.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Not only that, but don't you like it how they take something that's actually true for the other side? Like, for example, if somebody goes outside wearing a Trump hat, we've covered this on Infowars. This man was pummeled by a crowd, beaten senseless. He was running for his life, and yet they're trying to pin the violence on people that actively support Trump. But you and I know this, and we've covered Trump rallies before. Those are some of the most gracious, polite people I have ever encountered. Typically, the ones screaming and yelling and pushing are always the Hillary supporters, every time without fail. It's remarkable.
Well, we also recall, I believe it was in Costa Mesa, California, where they had those really violent protesters coming out, egging that woman, cornering her, and there was probably 50 people around yelling, and they wouldn't allow her in the building because they didn't want this huge crowd to break through the doors. I mean, totally violent protesters. And yet CNN, MSNBC, the networks, they were all talking about how violent the Trump attendees were. I mean, it's just total psyop happening.
And that's the media that we now know is colluding with the Clinton campaign. We've seen that in the WikiLeaks. You know, and it's crazy, too, that you alluded to earlier. I mean, Alex Jones and Infowars has been talking about this for a while, how they pay these people to agitate. It's you know, it's so crazy to say that. It's like, oh my gosh, that's so out there. That's so wild. How could that actually be going on? No, this is what's going on. And, you know, I would like to just salute Project Veritas and James O'Keefe. You know, this video is not only, it's so courageous, this type of journalism, but very well produced. You know, I think for, you know, nonpartisan, undecided, just straight down the line, this is a video that they did a great job producing and really just hitting home. I mean, it really hits home. It gave me chills.
Right.
I think that honestly, though, with this, Owen, we saw this with the Planned Parenthood sting operation. They tried to vilify the journalist, get him indicted on some trumped-up charge. You know, this young man, he really did put his neck out there. But you see in the media, and I'm waiting for this to happen, you know, in the days to come, where they're going to actually say, you know what, those words were spent, they were heavily edited. Right. Well, you can't make this stuff up. Those were complete sentences.
Calling for the jailing of
There's no way to edit, you know, what these people were saying to make that narrative fit. There just isn't.
Yeah, and it really, I think, shows the psychological disposition of the people that we're dealing with that work inside the Democratic Party, that are working for Hillary Clinton. As you pointed out, these people have no ethics. They don't care about ethics. They just want to get Hillary Clinton in. And I don't know what they're motivated by. I don't understand if it's
darkness.
You know, maybe money. But certainly not ethical things, certainly not the American Constitution. That's going to do it for the Nightly News. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central, Infowars.com/show. Ladies and gentlemen, Wednesday night is the biggest presidential debate in United States history, and we have full coverage for you at Infowars.com/show. We will have all our reporters on this desk, on another desk, behind the scenes, cutting up tape, analyzing what the two presidential nominees say. We will also have boots on the ground in Las Vegas, talking to people on the street, scoping the scenes, getting a feel for the atmosphere. We're going to have all of it for you on Infowars.com/show. So be sure when you're thinking about where to go for the presidential debate on Wednesday night, remember that we will have live coverage for you at Infowars.com/show. The best coverage covering all angles, real fact checking, moment by moment, with everyone from our talented team on the scene. And don't forget, of course, Alex Jones himself will be live, breaking down all the lies from Hillary, all the powerful comments from Trump, and everything in between, including the moderators. The best place for presidential coverage, the best place for debate coverage is Infowars.com/show. Be sure you're there on Wednesday night.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on this the last few months. You probably noticed I've been more crazed, more focused, less brain fog, more energy, more special reports, and it's because of Brain Force.
We kept changing this formula over and over and over again until it became sort of a grand puzzle. This just increases the compounds you already have.
This is what you're actually designed to run on. You will find Brain Force, Survival Shield X2, and other game-changing products at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.